you guys doing today?
Good.
Good. So I'm here for the second time. We didn't do this last year. I did it 2 years ago. So I must have done something somewhat right. So go back 2 years. I guess I was, like I was explaining to a couple people, I guess I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. My boss came up to me and said, hey, you're doing a presentation on scams, frauds, stuff like that. And I was like, what? So my boss was like, yeah, just put together a PowerPoint, put it on for him. It's nothing big, nothing. I'm like, I don't investigate any of those kinds of crimes. I don't know much about those crimes. Like, yeah, you'll figure it out. So it took me a little bit of time. However, I took a step back and thought about it, and I said, you know what? I remember being a patrol officer, and I remember going to a house in Wethersfield. I don't remember who it was. I remember going to that house, and I remember speaking to a gentleman. He's like, I just gave $10,000 to someone I have no idea, and I don't know what to do. And I was heartbroken. I was like, I don't know. What do you mean? Who'd you give it to? I wired it to someone.
Oh boy.
And I was like, oh, that money's gone. And so that came back to me, when my boss a couple years ago came up to me and asked me to do this, and I was like, you know what? I love arresting bad guys. I love it. It's my favorite thing in the world to do. These types of crimes, I will be completely honest with you, are very tough to find the bad guys. So I thought about it and I was like, all right, how can we help people? How can we stop this? Education. So I did a lot of research. I talked to a lot of other cops, other detectives, everything like that. And we put together a presentation, talked to some people, and just to help educate people about this, these types of things that are going on, because it's so rampant, it's insane. So we'll do that. We'll talk about scams. I also put together some public safety stuff, out in public, at home, driving, what you should be carrying, looking out for, stuff like that. So it's a lot. So we'll go through this then. So we'll start this off. We'll go a little bit about who I am. So I'm Detective Justin Hilchuk. I was hired in 2013. I was a patrolman for a while. I'm on the motorcycle unit. Do defensive tactics instructor. I'm on the SWAT team. I was a field training officer. I'm a CIT officer. I am now attached to 2 task force, the Center for Digital Investigations, where we do a lot of internet crime stuff, cell phones and computers and stuff like that. And I'm on the Greater Hartford Regional Auto Theft Task Force. Just some pictures of stuff that I've been a part of this far. I'm about halfway through, so we're almost there, almost getting over the hump. So a little bit about me. Like I said, these are the topics we're going to go through. We're going to start off with scams. We're going to go off of certain types of scams, certain scams that I've heard of, certain scams that are trending, what to look out for, what to do, how to counter it, and everything like that. Then we'll talk about public safety, some safety tips, and we'll take some questions at the end. All right, so in the beginning, there are over 15,000 criminal organizations that are trying to scam senior citizens. That's straight up nothing else but senior citizens. That's all they care about. There's scams all over the world where they target certain individuals. This is just based on that. According to the FTC, in 2023, about $10 billion was lost, which is insane. We don't have the numbers for 2024. It's kind of back 2 years. So next presentation I'll have next year's. That's just how it rolls. So everyone is susceptible to a scam of some kind, but about 7 out of 10 of these criminal acts were geared towards senior citizens. I'm sorry, guys. It's just how it is. These are the numbers. As we go further and further, technology is developed. We get a lot more data with all these types of scams and stuff. So we're able to determine the ages, the areas that are more susceptible to scams and stuff like that. So this is 2023. Like I said, it's 2 years old or a year and a half old or something like that. 10 billion lost. The number one top fraud are imposters, people pretending to be someone that they're not. So that's a blanket statement kind of thing. We'll go over who was an imposter, what type of scam and stuff like that. Online shopping, prizes, sweepstakes, investments, and then business and job opportunities. Number 4, number 5, I really haven't heard a lot about. I know with the investments category, they're talking more probably about cryptocurrency, which I don't know much about at all either. I guess my one tip about that whole thing is if you're not involved in crypto and you can't tell me what crypto is, just keep it moving. I mean, it is what it is. I have no idea. I have no intentions about learning about it. But if someone's calling you about cryptocurrency, just hang up. I'm not involved. All right, so the first one, and I'm sure everyone's probably heard about it, is the grandparents scam. There you go. So basically this scam is usually targeted during the night. We usually see phone calls coming dinner time, a little later, you're watching TV, sitting down, relaxing, to sometimes in the middle of the night. The good ones are waking up people in the middle of the night because you have been asleep. You were completely out of it. You get a phone call, and basically what's happening is that these scammers are saying, you know, I'm Johnny, your grandson. I'm locked up in Canada. I was involved in an accident in another country. I need $5,000 right now. You can't tell mom and dad. They don't know I'm out here. I'm not supposed to be here. Your immediate reaction, your heart rate's gonna go up. You're gonna probably start sweating. Oh my God, what happened to you? What happened? How can I help you? We all want to help our grandkids, right? So they target you because they want to get you off your game. So they're gonna call you late at night. Now you're gonna probably ask me how they find this information about you guys. Unfortunately, this day and age, everything's on the internet. Everything's on the internet. Your phone books, those are gone. It's all online. Simple Google searches. You type in your name in a town, I'll find out so much information. It's so crazy. When we do intelligence and investigations, the first tool I do, and before anything, is right to Google. Right to Google, and usually a social media page, because everyone puts all their information up there. Now, there's ways to scrub the internet, obviously make things private and stuff like that, but I'd say your average person, they don't do that. It takes time, it takes effort. I personally, every month, I go through the internet and I look up my name. I look up my name and I see if there's anything out there. And now I'm a little different because I've never had social media. I've never had any of that Facebook, Instagram, still don't. So that definitely helped. But if you Google my name, there's not much out there. It's pretty much, I'm a police officer, I was involved in some things, I arrested some bad guys, some college sports stuff, some stuff when I was fighting before that, legally. And that's about it. But like if you look up, I've looked up buddies, other coworkers, and I just show them. I said, look at all this stuff you can find. Another thing I will say too, and another detective from another agency said, obituaries. Obituaries give so much information. It's wild, and I get it. It's a terrible time. You want to, say nice things about your family, but there's things where they're putting first names, last names, and the town they live in. That's so easy to start finding these things. So these bad guys, these scammers, will start with that, and they'll get a great amount of information just by doing that. So that's what they use when they call you. They may get some things right. They may get your first name and last name, and maybe a school, because they looked up then the son, the grandson. And that's where they really get a lot of information. Your grandkids, your kids, stuff like that. They'll find out who you are associated with, and then look up there and it just trickles down. Oh, I know he's in California, okay. Oh, he's really close to Las Vegas. All right, we'll say he was in an accident in Las Vegas, they went out on a college trip. And it's believable. So that's how they start getting you. So, the biggest thing that I tell people about these grandparent scam, take a second, think about it, and start thinking if this makes any sense. And then I'll show you some other ways as we go on. This is going to be a quick video. It's going to kind of describe a little bit more.
Scams can come to the door through the internet, in the mail, or on the phone. One current scam targets grandmas. Edith received such a call one morning.
I was just as gullible as you could possibly imagine. And so when I was called on the telephone, identified, this is your grandson, and he said that he had a big problem and he didn't want to tell the folks about it because they'd be so worried. Naturally, you know, you protect your kids. So I said, well, what's happened? What's the matter? And he said, well, I was in a rental truck in Canada, Eastern Canada, and he said, we had an accident and the truck was damaged, and I can't get back into my own country until this is taken care of. So I just did everything he said I had to do. I borrowed the money, I went to the bank, I got it wired off, whatever was needed, I did. We started with $5,000, and then he called again, and he said he had a friend whose parents weren't going to help him out, and he needed $5,000. I sent another five. I know, this is, you can't think, nobody is that stupid. I'm that stupid, that gullible. He was very good. If I were casting a play and he was trying out for the part, I would have taken him. He was very, very, very good. I didn't see a flaw in his performance, because that's what it was. It was a performance.
At church on Sunday, she saw her grandson and discovered he had not called her. They reported the scam to the local police.
Heavens, the minute it was done and I knew what I had done, I never had a thought of getting a penny of it back. It was gone. It was gone. It was a very expensive lesson.
That's a very difficult fraud to prosecute. We do get cooperation from Canadian authorities, but we have extreme difficulty in identifying who exactly the perpetrator is. Oftentimes money is given over without any ability to tie down who it is that's taking the money.
So it's a pretty sad story. Especially what she said. You know, as soon as I knew that money was wired, that money was gone, and that's 100% true. These money wiring companies, they don't care, nor they do actually put on their business, I guess, applications when you send money and stuff, you know, stuff about fraud, and we're not held liable if it is determined to be fraud. So, like the prosecutor said from Arizona, it's extremely difficult to try and find these guys. They use technology that's most likely above and beyond us, and then usually they're not even in the United States. They're in countries far away. Countries, like you said, Canada will cooperate. There's countries that just say, no, we don't care. We don't care about that subpoena, that search warrant. We're not giving you any information they can. Who are you going to go after? All right, so how to combat the grandparent scam. Never wire money to anyone that you don't know. I get it. People have family in different countries, and for birthdays, celebrations, stuff like that, they want to wire money. There's a right way to do it, but also you know who you're sending it to. So if someone's asking you to send money, and they won't give your name, or it's a name you don't know, or if it, you know what I mean, it's not true. It's not something that you want to be doing. One thing I have there in capital, all caps, is no legit agency accepts gift cards as payment. I'll probably say this again. A lot of these scammers, all different types of scams, this is just across the board, they will want you to send money in the form of gift cards. Biggest thing, Apple gift cards, Amazon gift cards. How are you bailing someone out and paying with that? It's just you just got to take a step back, think about it, and be like, whoa, this isn't how the world works. To bail someone out, you have to have cash or a bail bondsman. Apple gift cards, Amazon gift cards, Green Dot Money gift cards, prepaid Visa gift cards. It's not how that works. And you have to go in person. We deal with it all the time. We just locked up someone the other day, and they came in person to bail them out. That's the only way it happens. It doesn't happen over the phone. Another thing is we ask that you talk to, if you're talking to the scammer and they're saying, I'm pretending that you're their grandchild or some sort, is ask them some personal questions. One of them is, what's the name of your dog again? Oh, I always love, and you play it off. Oh, do you still have your dog? What's his name again? I forgot. They'll be completely stunned. I've actually used this before. We all get these scam calls. If I have time, I like playing around with them. Not only is it fun, but I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, if I'm holding this guy up and I know it's not a scam, someone's getting saved somewhere in the world, right? So I'm kind of doing a little bit of help. But I'll play with it like, oh, are you John from high school? Yeah. Well, when did we win that game, that big game? You know, and they just know immediately and they click. So, another thing is like, you know, where does another family live now? I heard they moved. Where do they live? They'll stumble across and most likely hang up. Sometimes we ask if you're really getting further along and they know a lot of stuff, they've done some homework, they ask, hey, can you call me back? I have another call. Call me back from another number. Call me back from, and we all have cell phones, right, that have caller ID. If that number is not registered, so if you get a call from, like, say you bring your car to Nissan, I get a call from Hart Nissan. It says Hart Nissan on it. That's how the businesses are doing that. They're registering, so when you get these phone calls, you know, okay, this is probably Hart Nissan. It's not all the time. You can change numbers. You can change your names on your phone numbers and stuff, but for the most part, it's another step. All right. Listen for heavy accents and loud background noise. So basically, these scammers, they work in office-type settings. They have cubicles straight up like an office building where you can hear other phone calls going off. The biggest thing is you'll hear accents that are nowhere near here. Okay? One of the biggest ones that I've been getting lately is Indian. You hear an Indian accent, and then you can hear so many phones in the background. You know, it's not true. Like, it's basically a call center for scammers. All right. So a lot of the scammers, they're located in foreign countries: Jamaica, India, Nigeria, Pakistan, China, Venezuela, Brazil, Romania, South Africa, Philippines, Indonesia. I've heard Eastern Europe is becoming more popular. But like, just listen. Like, you know, if you're talking to someone and they're saying that, you know, your grandson's locked up in Arizona, and they have a crazy accent, and you hear so much other traffic in the back, you know, these are all little red flags that, you know, we think about. Like I said before, take time to think about the situation, take a step back. I know you've probably been woken up, or it's late, you're not thinking about it, you haven't talked to your, you know, grandkid in a while. You may not know where he is, what he's doing now. Just take a step back, ask. Another big thing, call their father, call their mother. I know they're going to plead, saying, don't call mom, dad, don't call my mom. Call them. Say, hey, you know what? I'll call you back later, or you call me back in 10 minutes. Call that family member, that father, that brother, just anyone that knows him. Be like, no, he's at college. No, he's not in Canada. That's a scam. Hang on. That's the biggest thing I'll tell people. If you really want to, you know, if you have time while you're on the phone and you have a laptop or a tablet or something else, you can also Google that phone number. Google has been really great right now. They put out forms and pages where they show scammers' phone numbers. So you want to type in their phone number and just search it, and then all of a sudden it'll just be like, scammer, hang up, don't give them any money. So it's actually good that Google's doing that. All right, so we'll talk about social media scams. Like I said, social media is great, connects people from all over the world. I kind of saw it coming when I was younger, and I was like, I don't know, going into this field of work, doing what I like to do, I don't think, you know, social media is good for me. But it's great for people that really want to connect with others, especially if they live all over the country, different, you know, other parts of the world. So a scam common with this is that basically they will hack into someone's social media account and then contact you. There's so many ways that people can hack into your stuff. We were just talking about a family member's laptop being stolen. They got into it somehow. Then they were able to, you know, find passwords. So this is a big tip: don't store passwords anywhere on your computer or electronic devices. It's pretty wild. I extract a lot of data from cell phones in my investigations, stuff like that, and I'll find notes where all these passwords are. Bank passwords. It's wild. So don't do that. So these people will, you know, hack into a Facebook page and start contacting people, all their friends. And what they'll basically do is like, hey, I need some money, I'm in tough times. and they'll just move on to the next. They say no, or they don't get an answer, they just move on to the next. This is an older picture of what a profile used to look like, but this is all the information that I can gather as a scammer or a bad guy. Where they went to high school, where they work, where they live, their friends, colleges, high school, everything. That's all open. Unless you make it extremely private or you don't have it, it's open to everyone. I can search it right now and find out. So I tell people, if you want to have social media, good for you. Just be safe about it. Make things private. Don't accept friend requests from people you don't know. Don't talk to people that you don't know. Ask them questions. If they're saying there's someone, ask them some questions, just like the grandparent scheme. Ask them some questions that they would only know and only them. Some people like to sell things on Facebook Marketplace. That's another part where people get scammed. It's a great place to buy and sell things. Just be safe about it. A lot of times they will ask to contact you on another platform or call you. It's not a good decision usually because then it's harder to trace. I get it if they want to call you because it's easier to pick up a phone call, stuff like that. But if they say, hey, message me on this app, most likely it's a scam. One of the biggest scams that they'll request to, they're selling something. They're like, yo, no problem, $100, just can you wire me the money or send me the money, and then I'll ship it. Well, that's not the point of Facebook Marketplace. The point of that is to meet them in person. Now, obviously, you can go state to state. For example, I bought a motorcycle in Rhode Island, but you're meeting them in person. You're not exchanging money. They're not a reputable company that is selling these things. You're not going to get a receipt and an invoice. These are just people selling things. So if it looks too good to be true, it most likely is. But don't send any money for any goods or services on Facebook Marketplace. Meet them in person. At our police department, we have a few spots up in the front. They are designated for Facebook or online selling transactions. Next one I want to talk about is a tax lien. I have not personally seen this come across us in Wethersfield. That's not to say that it's not true. I have it up here because a couple other detectives I know saw it. Basically, with all, I know it's a lot of text and everything, you'll get something in the mail. We've all been getting mail for a long time. We all know what is junk. We all know that they can just basically send us anything. You sign up for one thing and then you're getting 5 things from another company. However, this tax lien looks legit because it's almost as good as like a government document. And I always compare it to like the DMV or the Department of Labor or stuff like that. They'll have markings on the envelopes that look good, but they're not that great. Also, when you get official documents from the state, it always has a return address. It always says their address. Usually that top corner is just blank. So basically they said, they got a letter saying that you owe $30,000 in tax liens. You need to call us at this number, speak to a tax lien investigator, a liaison, someone. Most likely you'll speak to someone that barely speaks English because a lot of these have been found to be out of the country. It's a scam, all right? I will show you exactly what this looks. It looks official, right? It looks not bad, but there's nothing in that top left corner. Your big businesses, your state organizations and agencies, they will have that because they have to have that. All right? It looks good, it looks official, but it's still it's no good and it's a scam. I got another little video for you.
It's a scary situation, your personal information compromised, and the possibility of losing thousands of dollars. It is loosely known as the Pink Nightmare, a piece of colored paper sent out to homeowners declaring they owe thousands of dollars thanks to a tax lien. But the notice is a fraud. Vigo County Auditor Tim Saprodi says if you receive a piece of mail that looks suspicious or doesn't have a company name, be cautious about what information you send out.
Most of the time, these type of organizations are just trying to get information that you should not give them so they could either identity theft, get into your accounts, theft through those kind of practices.
This form was passed on to News 10 by someone who lives in the Wabash Valley. The form asks for $30,000, but Saprodi says usually this is just the first step in an attempt to access bank accounts or your Social Security number. Saprodi said.
All right, so another scam that I've seen a while ago, it was a Medicare card phone scam. Basically, the caller is saying that they're from Medicare and your card is no longer valid or expiring. They'll say, hey, it costs $500, $600, whatever it is to get a new card. The new card is good forever. As we know, your Medicare, your cards are free, right? They won't call you by phone, and there's no national lifetime card that exists. So, biggest thing, don't give them any information. If you really are, concerned about it, go to your card, call that number on the back, get the help you need. But this is a little older scam. I don't know if anyone has heard about it or if gotten that phone call before, but just be careful.
Senior citizens rely on their Medicare card, and crooks know that. So they'll try and get the senior to purchase what they claim is a mandatory national medical ID card, but no such card exists. However, a lot of seniors are being taken by this one, but I met one lady, however, who knew better. Bill and Dorothy Hall are both retired, depend on Medicare, and have lots of time on their hands to answer the phone. They're a prime target for scam artists. But when the scammers got 79-year-old Dorothy on the phone, they'd met their match.
She said, well, everybody has to have these, and all you do is send $600, and it's good for the rest of your life, and what you have now will not be any good.
Mrs. Hall has had a Medicare card for a long time. Here's her old Medicare card. She didn't have to pay for this. Here's her new Medicare card. She didn't have to pay for this either. So when the crook on the other end of the line told Mrs. Hall she had to pay $600 for a brand new Medicare card, well, this smart lady knew something was up. When the lady called again, Dorothy let her have it.
I said, let me have your phone number, because I want to turn you in.
This is on the rise. We're getting many calls about that.
Candy Twyman with the Better Business Bureau Education Foundation says this scam is growing and the callers are persistent.
They'll call again. They'll keep calling and say, do you know how stupid you are for not signing up for this? Because you will lose your Medicare.
When Dorothy got a fourth call, this time from a man, she immediately hung up on him. But that wasn't the end of it.
He called me right back. He was mad. Miss Hall, why did you hang up on me? And I said, because I don't want to talk to you, you idiot.
You gotta love that. Way to go, Dorothy. She didn't want to talk to him. She called him an idiot. Yeah, that's right. Seniors are often convinced to give the crook their bank account number so that they can have the charge for the bogus card then deducted from their bank account. Never, ever, ever give your bank account information to anyone you don't know. And as far as Medicare cards go, they're always free if you qualify for Medicare.
All right, so the best thing I took from that video is that they continued to call her. So I've had victims and other stories from other officers or detectives say, yeah, they were brutal. They kept calling. Most of the time, they will stop. However, there are scams where they are persistent. And I always wonder, are they trying to get a quota? Or are they going to lose their job as the scammer to get this deal or whatnot? So, for the most part, they do move on to the next. Because I'll be honest with you, I've seen a couple documentaries that I'll talk about later. These guys and girls that scam have, like I said, are in these offices. This is their job. They have phone numbers and lists of phone numbers. So they just go on to the next. So like when I was saying, I kind of hold on and I keep talking to them just to, I'm just trying to prevent the next person to get that phone call. I mean, it is inevitable, but if I can, save someone some time, I will try. This scam is kind of outdated. It has to do with mystery shopping scams. So basically, what will happen is going along with all the junk mail. I feel like junk mail is kind of stopped. It's more advertisements and stuff that you get, pamphlets, which are usually bigger businesses and stuff like that. But as for actual junk mail and fake mail, I feel like it's kind of stopped. I don't know if USPS has any part with that, but basically what you'll do is you'll get a check in the mail. It's made out to you. It looks real. It looks legit. It will, and what they will do is they'll instruct you to cash this check into your bank account, and then take some money for yourself, and then wire the remaining money left. So they'll say, hey, here's this check for $3,000, take $1,000, wire that $5,000 back to me. It's a gift. Thank you for shopping at Walmart or whatever. It's pretty wild, but I think it's getting a little more outdated. I think just because of the internet and everything like that. When you actually went into stores and stuff like that. So basically, what will happen is when you return to the bank, you find out the check was fake. You're going to be held responsible for that $6,000, and the bank's going to get their money. They don't play around. So I say stop for a moment and think, did I sign up to be a mystery shopper? I've never heard of that. I mean, it may exist, it may have been a while ago or whatnot, but who's going to send you free money? Who's going to give you free money? That doesn't happen. The way the world is now, it doesn't happen. All right. Does it look authentic? Sometimes, like I said, those like that tax lien scam, these letters will look legit. They'll look like they're from this company, from Walmart, from Best Buy, these big box stores. They'll look good, but if you look carefully, like something's never right. It's not copied right. The color's off. It's a little crooked, stuff like that. Look for little things like that. Here's another video about that.
Thieves are always coming up with clever ways to separate you from your money.
Oh, yes, and this time they tried to scam our Dan Weinbaum. How'd they do it, Dan?
Well, I hold in my hand checks totaling $16,677. They're all made out to me, but I dare not cash them, and here's why. There's the first one, then another, a third, 4 letters in all from Canada, telling me I've either won a lottery or I'm needed as a secret shopper. And inside, checks, adding up to thousands of dollars. Why me? Is this legitimate? We went to the Better Business Bureau to find out.
This looks almost like the typical letters we get every day. It's got your name on it.
Sherry Reese quickly wiped away any idea of easy money.
How do I know that's not real?
When someone you don't know is sending you money for no reason, you've not entered any sweepstakes, you've done nothing to make anyone send you money, it's probably not legitimate.
Reese says the people who do this are very good, creating official-looking documents, but look closely at the letters. Bad copy jobs, skewed corporate logos, and online search of the companies will find a dead end. The checks? They're real enough. All the security measures are there. Watermarks, microprinting, even a heat-sensitive mark proving it's real check paper. But these are most likely blanks, stolen and printed up by the scammers. And this is how they get your money.
First, take your check, go to the bank, and cash it. Now, once you have the cash, you have to do a few things. Take some for yourself, and then you're supposed to go to Walmart. You enter as a secret shopper. You spend a little bit of money, and then once you've done your job, then this is key. They want you to go to a Western Union or MoneyGram location, take a lot of money, and wire it off.
And you've just been scammed. The crooks get the cash, and the bank wants its money back because you gave them a bad check.
After 10 days, when it doesn't clear, and you've already wired money out, you're responsible to pay that money back.
So there's no such thing as free money?
There is no such thing as free money. There's a catch somewhere along the line.
And the catch is you, if you take the bait and the hook.
So what do you do if you get one of these in the mail? Contact the Better Business Bureau. Also check with your bank. And remember, no company is going to contact you out of the blue to do work for them, let alone send you thousands of dollars to do it up front. Back to you.
All right. So we'll move on to romance scams. All right. So romance scams are the most common scam that's happening right now in Connecticut that's costing people money. And it is, someone just said it's so sad. It is sad because usually what happens is that they target people that have lost someone, broke up with someone, whatever. Someone that is in a vulnerable spot. And they exploit their heartbreak, they establish a connection, gain sympathy, and then when they have the victim hooked, they go after their money. So it usually goes with building a relationship, which sometimes can take a few days, a few weeks. Some of them, if they're really good, will take even longer. They'll connect with you, really listen to you, talk to you. You really think that this person cares about you. but they don't. They only care about your wallet. Recently, and like I said, I don't know enough about this because I just don't do a lot of, very little finance stuff. A lot of times it is connected to cryptocurrency. Like I said, if you have no involvement in cryptocurrency, just don't even get involved. Don't even worry about it. Just keep it moving. So basically, to combat this, if it seems like it's too good to be true, the relationship's moving on very quickly. They do ask questions about finances sometimes, and they try and sneak them in. You know, like, oh, are you retired? Do you have a pension? Stuff like that. Do you get Social Security? All these types of things. They'll weave these questions in while they're talking to you, and you know, trying to gain your affection and all that stuff. Just be on the lookout for that. They may say, you know, I love you. I think we're really great for each other. Pretty quickly. Some of them are not good, and they kind of just show their cards off right off the hook, right off the rip, and say, you know, I love you. You're beautiful. Let's make this work. Blah blah blah. I just met you.
They tell me I'm so kind.
Oh, there you go. You're so kind.
Yeah, but if they knew me, they wouldn't.
So, one of the other things I tell people too, and this is, I've seen this in the romance scams, but this is scams again, all across the board, is look out for suspect language. And I mean that by, like, if they're texting or messaging you or talking to you on the phone, look out for poor spelling, grammar, stuff like that. If they're saying they're from your area and they live here, they've grown up, you know, in this part, but they don't sound like they're from, you know, the United States, or again, you hear the calls in the background, you hear all this stuff. You know, these should be red flags, you know what I mean? Obviously people come here from all over the place, but these scammers that are tied to romance scams are usually from, again, out of the country, and they work in these scam offices, basically. So I added this in because credit cards is the way of the world. I mean, everyone's got credit and debit cards. We use them all the time at the grocery store, gas station, convenience store, anything like that. These are about skimmers and shimmers. They usually target gas stations, convenience stores, and locations that hundreds of people go to because they can get the most information, they can get the most people off of their devices. So skimmers, we all know, are it's a device that they usually put over the reader, and it basically takes all your information. These things are all electronic, so it'll take your number, it'll have your PIN number, the expiration date, and all that stuff. You can't do anything about it. All right? With skimmers, what I always tell people is, if you can have a card that, you know, you tap the thing to do, use that. It's a little bit more secure, but I always, every time I actually have to put the card in or swipe it, because they still swipe cards, I guess, I shake the thing. I grab it, and I shake the thing. And half the time the clerks are like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I just want to make sure I'm not getting scammed. And sometimes they take offense to it. I'm like, I'm not calling you out, but this is the way you know, it happens. I went through, I think probably 5 years ago, I went through like 3 or 4 cards, and I was finally able to figure it out that it was a gas station I kept going to that was just notorious for it. And luckily I called my buddy up at that police department, another detective friend of mine, and I was like, hey, you guys got to do something about this, because this is crazy. Like, I've never been scammed skimmed so many times. And they ended up figuring out that it was someone working there that was working kind of underneath it. So I know this picture is small, but this is a regular credit card machine without it. You can see the little differences in it. It always looks bulkier. It looks funny. It doesn't look secure. That's why I say I always grab them. I always touch them, make sure that, you know, parts aren't loose and stuff like that. You could just tell, like, something's not right. The plastic doesn't look right, because it's literally it literally just goes over the machine. And
do they have them now? Because you can tap your card and it just, you don't.
Yeah, so that's why I tell people to tap it, because that is going what the skimmers are doing is that's when you're inserting the chip.
Right.
So what it is it's basically getting in between and reading your card. Whereas as you tap, and they haven't, I'm sure they'll develop this technology, they put something on the thing where you tap. So that's why I always tell people, if you can, use that tap feature. I think every new credit card all have it now. So I always tell people, make sure you tap instead of swiping it and stuff like that. To avoid being a victim, like I said, if the card doesn't fit well, does it feel funny, it feels loose, or it feels too tight, then talk to the clerk. Like, hey, what's going on with this? And a lot of times the clerks I found, they're like, oh, no, not again. Or they're like, yeah, let me look at that real quick. Because they don't want to be, they're going to have to talk to their manager, and then their manager is going to have to talk to someone, because at some point, someone's going to be liable. You know what I mean? And like I said, use tap options. That's the best bet. Oh, I didn't even get to talk about the shimmers. So the shimmers are new. It's basically a paper-thin device that they actually insert inside, and it gets a limited amount of data. So what they do is then they come back to the same thing, and then they put the skimmer in, and then they have everything. Again, it's when you're inserting your credit card into there, so if you can, use that tap feature. So this goes for scams all across the board. Methods of paying the scammer, how they want you to pay. Almost always they want wire transfers, Western Union, money. I forgot the other company, MoneyGram or something like that. There it is, MoneyGram. They want you to do that because once that money's gone, it's gone, and they have it. It's instant. Prepaid money cards, Green Dot Money Pack. I put a picture of that because when I was in patrol, that was the biggest thing. Green Dot Money Pack cards. You can get them at any CVS, Walgreens, grocery store. For some reason, these scammers love using those. And it's just you pay, in cash or credit card, and they load up the cards, and they just ask for the number and the password, and they have the money, and it's gone. Peer-to-peer payment systems are... Cash App is definitely the biggest one with scammers. That's why I don't have it. I use Venmo. A lot of banks use Zelle to send money. Venmo's very good too. I think Venmo is owned by PayPal, who's owned by some other big company. So they have good customer service and stuff like that. But Cash App, I'm not a fan of. In my community that I work in, all these bad guys use Cash App. It's funny because I can track them down, so it works out for me. Google Pay, Facebook payments, stuff like that. I put gold bars up there. I literally just put that up. I have a friend in Manchester who's a detective. Scam. I didn't go into it with them what the scam was, but basically they said, get gold bars. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I don't even know where do you get gold bars? I don't know. Did they panning out there in the rivers? I have no idea how these people are getting gold bars. But anyways, they went with their money, they bought gold bars, and the people actually came to their house and picked them up. And that's what I thought was scary, because for the most part, that has not been happening. Now I can say, in Wethersfield, I know of 2 incidents where that has happened, and they didn't show. But we think we had saw them on one of them. I was in another car, setting up with my partner and everything like that. We believed that they were going to come. We believed we may have seen them, and they just saw maybe too many cars. And they were unmarked cars. You wouldn't not even think. But being a career criminal, they're looking out just as like we're looking out for them. We think that we saw them. They took off. The guy in Manchester did get a plate, I think. I think it ended up being stolen, but out of New York. A big thing in New York, the Bronx is probably the biggest scam capital in the United States. Everyone that, washing checks, stuff like that, always goes back to the Bronx. So just be wary. Never, ever, ever let someone over to your house. And if someone says, like, hey, you can pay me whatever way, cold bars, change, I don't know, just call us. We'll come. A note here, like I said, I think earlier before, Western Union doesn't guarantee they're not going to give you your money back. Once that's sent, they don't You saw it. You saw it on their little fine print on the bottom of your application. You saw it. You signed it. It's gone. So I spoke a lot about this, how they get their information earlier. Internet's one of the biggest things. Telemarketers, dumpster diving. If you live in a apartment complex, we see people dumpster diving. Sometimes they get mail. The biggest thing that I'll tell people to keep, from all this is actual mail. We want you to, if you need to mail a check or if you need to mail something with personal information, everything like that, go into the post office. I know it's such a pain because those boxes are nice, inconvenient, and everything like that. But I've been a victim of getting a check stolen, and then all of a sudden it's written to some guy out in Chicago. I'm like, I've never been to Chicago, nor do I intend to go to Chicago ever. I don't know what to tell you. So, and the reason I say this is it doesn't guarantee that your money or your check or your personal information is going to be safe. There's plenty of ways that that check or that letter or envelope can be lost along the way or passed off or put to the side, anything like that. But in my experience, I have arrested people fishing mail out of the post office. Right there in Beaver Road.
Yep. They take it out.
Yep.
Get it out.
And this is before they changed the mailboxes to the little wheel inside there that only allows things in. So they're still, the USPS is trying to get rid of all of them, and I think they almost have gotten rid of all those that actually have the large gap. But there's some around. I've seen a couple somewhere in the greater capital region. But they were using water bottles. They were putting rat trap, sticky glue on the water bottles, putting a shoelace on it, dipping it in, and pulling mail out. So it's pretty wild. So now, the reason why I say go into the actual post office is because these keys for the boxes are being stolen. And I'm sure you guys have seen that in the news. There's been incidents where USPS workers have been strong-armed, robbed, beaten for those keys because they are trying to make these keys because they're usually a uniform key. And people are just going in the middle of the night, they have a key and nothing, and they're taking all the mail. Yep. Yep. So I know it's a pain, but I tell people if they really, really care and they have to send something, try and get someone to maybe help you into there and give it right to them. It's not 100% safe, but it's better than the mailboxes. So some trending scams that I've seen. Amazon imposter scams. They're saying that they didn't get, a lot of times if you have an Amazon account, you may get an email from someone saying they're from Amazon. If you return something, we didn't get your return. Now you owe us money. Call this number. Give your credit card, and all of a sudden they have that stuff. Just be careful with ordering stuff online. Make sure, double check, look at your email, look in your receipts, stuff like that. Did I order it? No, I didn't order anything from Amazon. That's not true. That's not me. Promotional email scams, was a victim to it. That is my email right there, right here on the right. So some email, I have Gmail, right? Gmail has a lot of tabs on the left on your phone. You can click on it and it will say like promotions, primary inbox, spam, whatever. So promotion emails are usually generated from websites and companies that you've bought from. This one was a company I bought from. It was Duluth Trading. All right? I got an email saying they're having a sale, which they usually do. So I was pretty pumped. I could buy some new underwear. I click that email. It sends me to their site that looks like their site. I order them, not that much, I don't know, 40, 50 bucks. Order them, pay. I don't get an email from them. All right, maybe they're backed up. I'll wait a couple minutes. Still don't get anything. That's funny. End of the night. Don't get anything from them. I call. Yeah, we don't have any orders from you. Okay. So I go back. I saved that email in the promotional email. And I scrolled all the way to the bottom. And what was at the bottom? All Chinese writing. I was like, oh, man. I'm like, how did I get screwed? So I was like, All right, I gotta get a new credit card and some new underwear, but. The computer lockout scams, if you have a computer or a tablet, sometimes you click something online that you may have thought was something else, and basically what happens is firmware is uploaded to your computer. Someone may get partially in control of it, and they'll put up this big red or blue screen. You've been locked out, security, we need to, you have a virus, you need to call this number, all that stuff. I had someone with an iPad, and it was the same thing. She clicked something she shouldn't have, and it was later that night that came up. Oh my God, what did I do? So she called, and of course, they're saying they're from Apple, and you need to pay this much, and we'll wipe everything, no problem. Complete scam. If you get something like that on your computer or tablet, just bring it to an electronics place. You know, I know a lot of things online now. You know, they can remote help you with some of these computers and stuff. If you have someone that you know that is computer savvy, or even where you bought it, say you bought it at Best Buy or something like that, bring it in.
You shut your computer off for
True.
a while, it'll be good.
True. So that's the other thing. A lot of times, if you reset it, it will go away. It's not saying that that's gone. It may come back, because a lot of times these are viruses that are actually programs put onto your computer remotely. So the best bet would to be, you know, totally factory reset it, or have someone that does viruses and stuff like that, you know, remove it from your computer. Easy Pass is huge. I'm sure everyone's gotten those texts lately. I can't believe it. Almost everyone has Easy Pass. You know, we're getting these text messages and phone calls now saying, oh, you owe this much money. And I'm like, I remember the first one I got, I had been on call for 2 months. So I wasn't driving my personal vehicle. And I go to Massachusetts a lot. I wasn't going up there. I was driving my company car, I call it.
And they just keep sending.
So I'm like, this isn't true. I haven't been to Massachusetts. This isn't right. And then I go into my actual Easy Pass, and then there's nothing. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is how they're scanning people, and it's good, because a lot of people have an Easy Pass. A lot of people don't think, oh, you know what, they must not have read my Easy Pass thing, I gotta pay. Same thing, give them your credit card, phone number, all that stuff, and you're scammed. Lottery scams is kind of older. COVID-related scams, they were they were using that with tests and everything like that. That's died down a little bit. Crypto, like I said, I don't know anything about it. I don't know if anyone else here does. If you do know about it, maybe you'll know more than me, but most part, just don't even go with it. I still think it's fake money. All right, so this is a quick little video. Great movie. I know it's old. Catch Me If You Can. That's actually Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Frank Abagnale. And he's talking about Wi-Fi safety. Quick thing about Wi-Fi. So many places have free Wi-Fi. You know, at restaurants, coffee shops, stuff like that. For the most part, the free open Wi-Fi is a little dangerous, and he's going to explain why. Obviously, if you go to your friend's house and say, hey, can I log on your Wi-Fi? There's usually a password. I tell people all the time, for Wi-Fi systems, just have a password. If you want to give it out to your friends, sure, but try and have a password. And that being is that people use other people's Wi-Fi all the time. And I've seen it with the stuff I do. Unfortunately, they've looked at some bad things on the internet under your Wi-Fi. And I'm not coming to knock on his door. I'm coming to knock on your door, because it's your IP address going to your house with using your internet. So just be careful with Wi-Fi.
So happy to have him with us live now from Washington, D.C. Frank, you've been a consultant for the FBI and mega corporations for years. Talk about your new role with AARP's Fraud Watch Network.
Well, for the last couple years, I've been working with AARP's Fraud Watch Network to help educate people about all types of scams. And we believe very strongly that education is the most powerful tool to keeping people safe. So today we're talking about Watch Your Wi-Fi, and we do that at AARP.org, Watch Your Wi-Fi. And we just want to remind people that when you're in a public place like a coffee shop or the airport, or you're on public Wi-Fi is not private. So you don't want to get on there and do a credit card transaction. Excuse me, you don't want to wire money from your bank account. You want to be careful to make sure you disconnect your auto-connect on your settings on your phone so that you don't walk into somewhere and you're automatically connected to Wi-Fi and you might forget that and do a bank transaction or give away some information on your phone. So we just want to remind and educate people a little bit about using technology safely.
I'll be honest, I do use Wi-Fi a lot, and I know those things are a possibility, but you always have the feeling of it's not going to happen to you, but it does happen frequently.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, AARP did a survey and found that 70% of people do go on Wi-Fi to look at Facebook and check emails, and about 33% of people go on Wi-Fi to actually do banking on it, wire money or buy purchases with their credit card or give out their Social Security number. And that is one of the reasons they took this initiative, to just remind people that when you're in a public place or you're on public Wi-Fi, that it's not private, and you have to be careful about not doing those types of transactions on public Wi-Fi.
Frank, I'm curious, when you were up to your old tricks, do you think it was easier then or now to scam people? Do you think it's easier with technology or without?
That was about 50 years ago, so it's about 4,000 times easier to do today what I did back then because of technology. Technology breeds crime. It always has and it always will. So there are always going to be people willing to use technology in a very negative, self-serving way to take and rip off people, unfortunately.
Interesting insight. Really quickly, where can people go if they want more information on how to protect themselves?
Just simply to aarp.org/watchyourwifi, and they'll get some simple tips. There's even videos showing you how people actually do that while you're sitting in an airport or a coffee shop. You can learn a great deal in just a few minutes.
All right, Frank Agnew, thank you so much for joining us. By the way, Catch Me If You Can was an awesome movie. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, so basically what I said goes, but what he goes into, so Frank Abagnale, he was the con artist in Catch Me If You Can, and he's worked for the government and now works for AARP. What he was saying basically is, when you're on Wi-Fi, try not to do any online banking. Try not to use your credit card as much as you can. There's people out there that literally prey on people at coffee shops. They look like they're just typing away on their laptop, doing work, sipping a Starbucks, but they're actually monitoring people.
They do tell you that they're not a protected website usually.
Yes. Yep. So good banks, bigger banks will actually say that. They'll give you a little warning. Hey, do you want to proceed? You're not on a protected server. You're not on protected Wi-Fi. That is nice, because it gives you a little heads up. All right, so these are the documentaries I was talking about that I think are excellent regarding scams. With that said, I think this show is one of the best shows out there on TV. It's called Trafficked with Mariana Van Zeller. She is amazing. She is a journalist. She works for National Geographic. This show is on that channel, but also is on their website, on YouTube TV, on Hulu, and Amazon Prime. They all cover National Geographic. I think National Geographic is a channel on standard cable, right?
It is. Yes.
There you go. So even easier, because I think it wasn't for a little bit, and then this was only on a certain streaming service. So it's pretty much out there. She's excellent. She deals with pretty much the underworld of everything. She does drugs, guns, trafficking people, everything. But she does do 3 episodes on scams. One is just basically on scams. That was her first episode. Then in season 2 and season 3, she did something on romance scams. And then the season 3, episode 9, the crypto scams, is something that I've been trying to watch myself. It's a little difficult having a little one at home, but I plan on watching that because, like I said, I don't know enough about crypto. All right, so we're going to do some safety tips. So scams are all done. We're going to talk about safety tips, how to protect yourself and others. So while at home, a lot of these are pretty, a lot of people do this, all right? Safety tips at home. Keep your doors locked, windows locked. Try and have a deadbolt on your main entry doors, okay? Deadbolts are my worst enemy. being on the SWAT team, they stink. We have to usually use some pretty heavy stuff to get it through. So that's good for your bad guys because they don't have the same equipment that I do. I'm carrying around 60 pounds of gear on my back, so most likely they're not going to have that. Keep your home well lit at night, inside and out. I tell people try and keep a light on. I know electricity is expensive. Eversource is not a fan right now, but especially outside. Floodlights are great. I'll go into cameras. I don't have it up there, but cameras. I know it costs money. I know there's a subscription usually like that. I do not work for Ring, but I think Ring cameras are the best for the bang for your buck. I've seen criminals look up at houses while trying to, either steal a car or get into the house, see the cameras, and straight up just leave. They're like, you know what? I'm going to one house that doesn't have one. I love cameras. They help us out so much. We use cameras for everything now. If you can, try and get some cameras. Peephole is always nice because, and apartments usually have this, senior housing usually has these as well, but they're actually great to have at home because what it does is it lets you to see without being seen in the window and see who's out there. Instead of opening the door a crack and they kick in the door, to come in and do some bad things, you can see. And then you can kind of see, oh, is that someone I know? I don't know who that is. And you can kind of prepare yourself. Do I have to call the police? Oh, that's my friend. I'll get the door. People's are nice. I know it's really old school, but I love them. Proper identification for people that come to your house. Ask them, who are you? What company do you work for? Do you have an ID? And I'm saying, do you have an ID? Do you have a work ID? I don't care what driver's license. Show me your work ID. All these companies have a work ID. It's given just like I do. There was a time where we were getting in town a lot of MDC and CNG imposters going around knocking and say, hey, I got to look at your meter in the basement. And they're wearing a yellow vest. They have a lanyard on. They may just say like John or whoever. They may even have a decent ID. My thing is unless you set that up, they're not coming. And then usually they're going to be coming in a company car that says CNG, MDC. So question them. I always tell them, question them. I don't know you. I didn't call you. You know what, let me call. And what I would say is, you know what, let me call my brother. Just lie to him. Lie to him all the time. My brother works for MDC. Let me call him, make sure. You may know him. And shut the door. And then they'll be out. They'll be, I'm out. Never give your credit card, phone card, social security, bank card to anyone you know over the phone. We've talked about that, scams. I've seen this before. If strangers ask to use your phone, sometimes you'll see it. They're homeless or they're wandering or their car broke down or whatever. Offer the police to call. Offer for you to call. I'll call them. You stay outside. I'll call them. Or if they're really adamant about using your phone, give them your phone and shut the door. So what? You get a stolen phone, I guess. Maybe worst comes to worst, but they're not going to come into your home and have free reign. Don't leave notes on your doors when you're gone. Don't say, hey, I went to the grocery store, I'll be back at 3. It's literally giving them a time frame. Like, hey, I got free reign. All right. Same thing about the phone. Don't say that you're living alone or you're going to be alone, stuff like that. If you're going to be gone for a couple days, I always say use like a clock radio or something like that. Makes it sound TV. Some noise or something like that. Even sound machines some people use. Just sounds, oh, they must be doing the dishes. It's just a sound machine. All right, tips out in public. We had a horrific event happen in Marlboro, not far from here. An older woman was basically kidnapped in the vehicle while she was just at Big Y. Very close. Very close. Very close to me. I dealt with that bad guy after the fact. Terrible, terrible, terrible human. This stuff can happen anywhere. I don't care. That was in the middle of the day. It's not at night when you're alone. There's no lights. This stuff can happen anywhere, anytime. So I tell people all the time, be vigilant. Women, Carry your purse close to you. Don't dangle it on your arm, and never leave it in the shopping cart. I see it all the time. I'll be in, the supermarket, and I'll see a woman walk off in her cart right there, and sometimes I'll just grab it, like, you don't want to do that, miss. That guy was eyeing it over there. And they're like, oh my God, thank you. So I tell women all the time, try and wear it in the center of your body as best as you can. I know it's difficult. Everyone's got different, purses and statutes and everything like that. But I say right here, so it's here, you always know it. And not only for people to take it, but also that you didn't drop it. You didn't lose it. It didn't get snagged on something. You can kind of hold it right there. Leave the house, almost try and do this all the time, and I yell at my wife all the time. Charge your cell phone. Don't leave the house with a dead cell phone. You never know what's going to happen. I try and keep my cell phone charged all the time. I have a portable charger. I have cables to charge. This day and age, your cell phone is a lifeline. And I'm just saying, I'm not even saying that someone's going to do something bad to you, but say you're just driving down the highway and you get a flat tire and you're all alone and it's late at night. You know what I mean? Always have your phone charged. When you're parking in public parking, try and park underneath some lights. Trying to park closer to the business, closer to other cars. Don't park farther away. I know some people like to park farther away from other cars because they don't want them to get dinged and stuff like that. But I tell people, try and get as close as you can to where you got to go. Because if something ever were to happen, the likelihood of people to be near you are better. Don't carry more cash than is necessary. And I kind of say this, but then I also say carry cash. So I say try not to carry a lot of cash because, especially when you're going to ATMs and banks and stuff, try not to get a huge sum at some time. People are watching you. I don't care what anyone says, they're watching you. It may be the clerk. It may be the guy getting a Gatorade. It may be the guy outside having a smoke. They're watching you. You know what I mean? There's people that literally make it their business to target these people. So when you're getting cash, if you can, go inside the bank and secure it, in a good way. I will explain why I want you to have cash a little bit later, but not that much. All right, so when you avoid walking home alone at night, try and have a buddy all the time. I mean, that goes for anyone at any age, at this day and age. Walking home alone at night is just not a good idea. You never know. I said it when I became a cop and I was put on midnights. I was just astonished, especially in the summertime, how many people are actually out and walking around and just out. Even in this town. In the city, when I work in the city, no problem. There's people out. Even in the town of Wethersfield, there's people walking around all over the place that you have no idea. Like you're sleeping in your pillow, you have no idea. And it's wild. It was such a shock to me. So, just be careful at night. Another big thing, and this helps with people stealing your checks and whatever like that, have your bank account or your checks, your Social Security checks, any other kind of checks, direct deposit, just send. You don't need that check sent to your house anymore. Just have it deposited into your account. And I said, no, don't withdraw any money for anyone. I know people are saying, I'm down on my luck, I need some money. Don't go to the ATM with them. All right, some safety tips while you're out in your car. Same thing with your cell phone. You want to keep it charged. You want to have a full tank in your gas. Try and have that as much as you can. Try and keep your car maintained as best as you can. Oil changes, good tires, everything like that. We live in New England. We may get snow tomorrow. All right? Lock your car doors even when you're inside. And this is something because we've seen last year, a little bit this year, we've seen a lot of carjackings at stoplights and parking lots, stuff like that. Most newer cars now have that feature where it locks when you start. You engage it into drive and it locks. I still hit mine for just as habit. Just lock it. Because what happens is instead of just opening their door and they get the jump on you, they may pull the door and it's locked and you can see someone's trying to get in your door. Who's trying to get in your door? The only people trying to get in your door is a bad guy. Speed off, run more, I don't know. I'll deal with it later. When you return to your car, oh no, sorry, we'll go with valuables, purses. A lot of times we see purses, windows are going to get smashed. It's the worst thing in the world. You're so, you're helpless because you lock your car. You're so happy. Boop, lock my car. You go out of the store, you're happy, blah, blah, blah. You walk out and your window's smashed. You're like, you can't do anything about it. It's until they make, smash-proof windows, it's going to happen. So with that said, these bad guys, they want to get quick hits. They want to get that purse, they want to get that laptop, whoop, snatch it and be out. They want to be inside, rummaging around, hitting the trunk, trying to do that. Most times they're not doing that because they want to get in and they want to get out. You break a window, people hear, no matter what time of the day. All right? So put your stuff in the trunk. Electronics, valuables, everything like that. When you return to your car after being there, and I have a habit of this, obviously because I'm a cop, but I always check the front and the back. You never know. You may have left that back door open. Who knows? I've seen it where people have, hidden in cars and, demanded this, demanded that, or drive. Don't pick up hitchhikers. Enough said. If your car breaks down, this is a big thing. If your car breaks down, pull over to the right as far as possible. Obviously, if something happens and you can't, you can't. Throw your hazards on, raise your hood, and wait outside the car for help. If you can, you kind of want to get further away. Potentially, over the guardrail if you can. Obviously, the terrain determines what you can and can't do. We like raising the hood because it gives, most people have, I think the general public have cars. Obviously people have trucks too. But with cars, you put the hood up, the hood is higher than, the roof of your car for the most part, so that people can see that easier. They'll see that something's going on. Hazards are great at night and during the day. I tell people too, driving, put your headlights on during the day. Have that feature automatic because it's just something else that we can see. As a motorcycle driver, we love headlights. We can see cars, especially at dusk. I have a few pictures, and they're on the next slide as well because it's kind of related. This tool right here is a Rescue Me tool. That's just one brand. The only reason I am talking about that is because one of our officers actually saved a guy a couple weeks ago from a burning car from an accident. Nothing else. It was an accident. Car caught on fire and he was trapped inside. Officer had that little tool, that circle spot, just punches the window. You just place it on the window and press, and pops the window. And then the other part is the seatbelt cutter. He used both, got the guy out, saved his life. It's a very small tool. It's on Amazon, very cheap. It's something nice to have on your keys because it's not big, or in the car. A lot of us drive alone, maybe alone. You get in a wreck, even a single car accident. You may swerve to miss a deer or whatnot, and you hit a tree and you're trapped. This can help you. I always say a med kit in your car. You can have anything in it. But what I always tell people, make sure you have some gauze to stop some bleeding. A tourniquet is always nice. We'll go over that in the next thing. But first aid kit with stuff that can stop bleeding is one of the biggest things we like to see. Because I'm a SWAT guy, I'm big into everyday carry, being prepared for all situations. It's just what it is. This is just to keep, a little education about stuff like that what can save you in a pinch. Cash is king. Like I said before, I was going to say don't carry cash, but then carry cash. I say carry cash because cash can be used in all types of situations. I usually keep about $100 just kind of hidden in, my wallet in the back of it, and then somewhere in my car. You may get stranded somewhere. You may get that guy that comes up and give me all your money. All right, I'll give you this $100, and then that's it. You're not hurt. You're out $100, but you're alive. I always say that cash is king. I had a buddy of mine say, "Well, just carry a Rolex." Rolex is used all over the world. Yeah, let me buy one of those. So, like I said, a little bit of cash is good. Try and remember where you keep it, but it can always help you in a pinch. Identification cards, medical cards, emergency cards. Carry those in your wallet, your purse, inside your cars as well. It can only help. There you
Gave
go.
everybody one today.
Oh, beautiful. And that's exactly, I think, oh, it was almost the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love those. I rolled up on accidents and the person is alive, but totally either out of it, and I don't know who they are because it's not their car. You know, we always, you know, we're like, oh, it's got to be the guy that owns the car.
No.
Well, that's definitely not the owner when we pull up the picture. So we have no idea who you are. Grab one of those cards. Oh, this is so-and-so. And it's mostly see, hey, does he have any medical conditions? Next of kin, someone to help him, someone to meet him at the hospital, stuff like that. If you wear glasses, I always say have an extra pair of glasses somewhere. Glasses fall off, you lose them, they break. If you have contacts, maybe you have those little travel things of contacts. Extra set of clothes. I tell people blankets, sweatshirts, rain jackets. Try and keep something. You can go to Walmart, pick up some cheap stuff like that. Just have in your car. Like I said, we're in New England. Yes, it's hot today, but it may be hailing tomorrow with snow, and then it'll be 100 degrees the next day. I always tell people just be prepared. Again, that tool, and I will say this. I know, I carry an IFAC at work. It carries a lot of stuff for me, but that's for what I do. But a tourniquet, I tell people tourniquets are huge now. We all go through medical training in my profession. The amount of times tourniquets have saved people, not cops, are insane. We had a motorcycle accident, double amputee, which is basically a death sentence. Officer had 2 tourniquets, used both of them, and he's alive. So I'm saying, you may not even need to know how to use it, but you may have it, and we may be able to use it, or the medical professional may be able, that arrive on scene may be able to use it. Because if it's a bad wreck or something, we may be using a few of these, unfortunately. I always say, try and have one somewhere. And it could be a car accident, it could be an accident at work. I had a gentleman who was cutting chicken and literally almost sawed off his hand. Threw a tourniquet on, stopped the bleed, and saved his life. So, it's something to think about. Obviously, it's it's a little higher tier medical stuff than your average, Band-Aids and stuff, but have stuff that can stop bleeding and have possibly a tourniquet. If you're a victim at home, you go to the grocery store, you go to a friend's house, and you come home and your front door is smashed. Don't go in. Don't go in. Find a safe spot. Go to a neighbor's house. If there's a business nearby, find somewhere where there's people. Let them know. Say, hey, can you call the police if you don't have your cell phone? It could be you may have your hands full of groceries and your phone's still in the car because you got to go back 100 times. Go right to the neighbors. Hey, call the police really quick. I think someone's in my house or someone broke into my house. And we come and we'll clear the house, make sure it's all good for you. If you've been swindled or conned, report the crime to us. I tell people all the time, this is what we do for a job, where we work 24/7, 365, holidays, weekends, everything. If you feel that you've been conned or swindled or a victim of any crime, call us. This is what we do. This is what we're here for. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Like, we've seen it all. We've seen it all. Don't feel embarrassed. Just call us. You may even just need, hey, some guy called me. He was asking about my social security number. He said he was from here. Even on the phone, our dispatchers were like, you know what, do you want a cop sent out, or do you want to talk to one? Sometimes we'll talk to people on the phones if we're in the building. But we will try and figure out what's going on and help you guys. All right, so a little bit of a review as we're winding down here. Don't wire any money to anyone that you don't know. I get it. People are going to have family members all over the place, and people do that. Do it responsibly. If you know them, go ahead. If you don't know them and they're contacting you, don't send them anything. Keep your personal information out of the internet. Don't provide it in any messages, text messages, emails, stuff like that. If you don't want to call us, call your bank. You think you're being conned, or you think you may have been, that purchase doesn't look good, Call your credit union, your bank, anything like that. Talk to your family and friends. Hey, I got this phone call. Does this sound weird? It sounds weird to me. Can you confirm that this is bogus? Charities. There's scams with charities. You know, unfortunately, which stinks because a lot of times these are people down on their luck or sick or lost a loved one. Just be careful with giving to charities. There are scammers out there that take advantage of that. Don't have them come to your house because they will. That Manchester case. Don't deposit any checks, you know, that were sent to you. Don't wire the money back. Try and keep your account social, your public information off the internet, social media and stuff like that. And then call us if you have any some questions. So, like I said, remember, when in doubt, you just give us a call. We're here for you guys. All right. Thank you very much. If anyone has any questions, I think.